I remember sitting around the house. After all our little bellies were fed, everyone would be settled back and listening.
NADAR holds a Master's of Arts in Educational Psychology and a Master's of Science in Education Administration. In 1968, he was appointed as the Director of Education of the West Coast region by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad during an effort to expand the University of Islam, and he was later appointed the Director of International Business and Trade in 1972. Brother NADAR also served as the Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Nation of Islam's own bank. That was the Guarantee Bank and Trust in Chicago, and he's currently the chairman of the board for the Martin Luther King Housing Development Corporation, which is an organization that builds homes for the low-income elderly population.
Assalamu alaikum. I was fortunate enough to be assistant to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in both the educational expansion and the business expansion for our community. I became a member of the Nation of Islam in 1966, and in 1967, I got my master's degree in educational psychology, and I wrote my thesis on the educational system of the Nation of Islam in California. So in 1968, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's office gave me a call. We lived in Fresno, California, where I was an educator. His office called me and said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would like to see you in Phoenix at his office. And he said to bring your wife. Mary Ali was my wife, is my wife. So my wife and I, we traveled to Phoenix. We were picked up at the airport by some of the staff of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they took us to his home on Violet Drive. We were met at the door by Brother Albert Kareem. Some of you might know Brother Albert Kareem. He was a faithful helper of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Brother Albert Kareem met us at the door. He took us to our room on the second floor, and he said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is asking that you spend the night with us, which we were pleased to hear and also shocked. He said, but first of all, we want you to fresh yourself and get ready to go down to dinner at 4 o'clock to see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and have dinner. So at 4 o'clock, we went downstairs. Honorable Elijah Muhammad was seated at the head of the table, and he seated me to his left, and he seated my wife to my left. And he began to ask me questions about me and my family, what was I doing, and what were my plans. And then he said, brother, I want to explain to you what my plans are. He said, I plan to expand the University of Islam all over the United States. He said, presently, we only have 2 schools that are full-time schools and that are really functioning good, and that's in Detroit, Michigan, and in Chicago, Illinois. He said, but now I want to spread the University of Islam all over the United States. So he said, I'm appointing you the Director of Education for the Western region of the United States. And he said, and concurrently, I'm appointing Brother Clark X out of New York. Oh, he told me my base would be in Los Angeles, California at that time, temple number 27. And he said, Brother Clark in New York, he will handle the eastern region of the United States, and his base will be temple number 7 in New York City. Brother Muhammad, would you come up and help me, please? Hold it up a little higher. The western region of the United States. My region was here, covering everything from Washington down to Arizona over to Colorado. That's the western region. He wanted me to cover that region and to establish universities of Islam in those regions where I could. Brother Clark was to have the eastern region, which started up here in Massachusetts, all the way down to Florida, over to Ohio. And his job was to establish universities of Islam in that region. And the center region was supposed to be handled by the director of education there in Chicago. I think at that time it was Sister Agneta Rasu. So we began our task, and we began our work, And I'll tell you, it was not an easy task, but it was not an easy task, but it was very, very enjoyable. Okay, Muhammad, you can come back. Matter of fact, just stay right there. I guess I can sit back down, but I got someone else to tell you too. So, secondly, now this was in 1968. So, from 1968 until 1972, I was established in schools and doing my duty as Elijah Muhammad instructed me to. In 1972, he sent for me to come to Chicago. Matter of fact, he moved my whole family to Chicago. He invited me to come to Chicago, and he said, he said, I have a plan for our people. He said, our people really needs, their economic condition is very, very dire. He said, in order to raise the economic condition of our people, he said, we have to help them. And he said, my vision is food, clothing, and shelter. He said, if we can submit and give to our people food at a very low price, shelter at a low price, and clothing at a low price, it will automatically raise their standard of living. You see the wisdom in that? So we started out. He spent $3 million. He bought a shipload of product from Japan and Korea of household goods, dishes, household goods, other things, and it came into the port of Oakland. And as it was in the port of Oakland, that's when he called me because his good was in the port of Oakland. He said, I have $3 million that's tied up there in the ports, and I need those things distributed. He said, I think you can do it. So I was very happy to try. But anyway, I thought about it, and we already had an automatic system of distribution. That's the Muhammad Speak newspaper. Every week, those Muhammad Speak newspaper, and I think Brother Shaw mentioned that 1 million copies were being sold on a weekly basis there. So every week, these papers were going out by plane, by rail, by truck. So Sister Arlene Elamine, she lives in Minnesota, she used to be John Ali's secretary. Well, Elijah Muhammad let her come and help me as an assistant. That sister was very, very tops. We cataloged all of those goods, $3 million worth, and we priced them. And we started the temples to ordering these goods and shipping them out to the different masjids. And we recouped the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's $3 million, and we had some money left over. So after the $3 million recouping of his goods, he said, now, brother, come on now. He said, I really have a project for you now. He said, the last one is food, because many of you know, or some of you that lived in Chicago, you know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad bought homes all over Chicago, and he leased them out to the believers at a very low price. And he did this for years, and he was buying farmland. He was really moving. But this time he said, we're going to embark on the food portion. He said, the Bible says that the corn is in the fish's mouth. So he said, I want you to research the world. Anywhere in the world where you find the best and the cheapest fish, we will buy it. And we're going to buy in large quantities, because if we buy in large quantities, we can reduce the price, and we will then pass this price on to our brothers and sisters. He didn't want to sell it to everybody. He just wanted to sell it to the lost found Negroes of the United States. So he was limiting our way to sell. But fortunate enough, he did this one other thing. He hired a gentleman, Mr. Alishan Dober. He was a Turkish Muslim, and he had a shipping company there in New York. He was a shipping magnate. He hired Mr. Dober. He paid Mr. Dober he paid him $50 million a year just to train us in international trade, because we didn't know about international trade. So Mr. Dober came on board. He trained us how to open letters of credit, how to do contracts, how to do everything in international business. He was really, really brilliant in this, and he was unselfish in helping us do all these things. And as we developed, we researched the whole world, and we found that the best and the lowest priced fish was in Peru. So we embarked, and we went to Peru. We traveled to Peru. Elijah Muhammad's grandson, Sultan Muhammad, who was fluent in Spanish. Mr. Dober and myself, we flew to Peru, and he said another thing. He said, do not negotiate with any middle people. We're not dealing with middle people. We're only dealing with governments. He said, our government to another government, so don't deal with middle people. So we dealt with the government of Peru. We drew a contract up, 36 million pounds of fish a year. Each shipment of fish that came into the United States, 3 million pounds a month. Every month, 3 million pounds of fish came into the United States of America. And it came in there, it came into the port. Brother Muhammad, pick the map up again. I'll tell you where these ports came in. This is what actually happened. Okay, we had fish coming into the port of Los Angeles. We had fish coming into Moly, Alabama. We had fish coming into New York City. We had fish coming into Savannah, Georgia. And this fish, the Los Angeles group, who was a very powerful and diligent group, they sold a lot of whiting H&G. I think Brother Shaw and Imam Hassan will vouch to that. They sold, and they cover this whole western region. And over here in New York, we didn't have Brother Clark was still with the educational field, so I couldn't use him. But another brother, Shamsuddin, helped me do all the distribution there. And here we had the southern region was covered. We did it by truck. We did it by rail. We did it by plane. We covered the United States with fish. I'll tell you, and only this 3 million pounds coming in every month, and 36 million pounds coming in a year, we're talking about $50 million coming into this community every single year. That was a stimulus to everybody. Okay, brother, you can have it. Now, what was so great about this is that if you know, my time is out, if you know that, there's one thing I want to say. If you remember this idea of bringing in goods at a low price and then selling it, guess who did it? You ever heard of Walmart? They copied the online, they copied him. They did it, but only they weren't reducing the price so low that, and they were selling to everybody. But anyway, we sold to just our people, and I tell you, it was very successful. One more thing I want to say. In 1975, the Library of Congress stated that the Nation of Islam imported more fish into the United States than any company in the history of America. Plus, this is a man with a third-grade education. And if you had to be, if Allah, salawat to Allah, Allah had his guidance and his blessing had not been with this community, it never would have happened. Takbir!
Allah Akbar.
I know that's right. Takbir!
Allah Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum.
I remember sitting around the house after all our little bellies were fed.
Okay, we asking everyone to come this way.
We're
gonna make a Janatha prayer.
to what Grandma said.
Brother,
She said, come gather around you chillin'.
Imam is gonna be here, so we line up behind him. Come on.
We're gonna tell you about the precious life of a pioneer. You see, God's always had his hands around them, so when they leave, there's no need to mourn. He sent them here to save a place for the children being born. When you see the pioneers walking and they're strolling along their way, you must lower the wing of humility, tip your hat and say good day. Grandma, tell me why, oh why must these things I hold dear?
There's a prayer for someone that has passed on and is going through the transition. We're doing it, it's done in silence. In silence. The only thing that we say and hear and ask you to repeat is when we say the takbir, which is Allahu Akbar. And those of you who are unfamiliar with the janazah service of a Muslim. When we say Allahu Akbar, we mean that God is greater. God is greater, and we ask the audience who are participating to repeat it. We will do that 4 times. Then we'll salam out and dismiss everyone to the place where the body will be carried once we finish the janazah prayer. And after that, Brother NADAR 2 will explain to you what we will do after that, and which will satisfy all of us based on the conditions of the land, this area, which received a tremendous amount of rain and made the service, most of it, unsupportive of unnecessary weight. But we understand how things are. That this water did not come by itself.
That's right.
But it was needed water that Allah sent. And since Allah sent the water, we had to put up with the water itself and whatever other results that comes from that amount of water. So let us straighten the lines, make sure the line is straight, all of us, and you can follow me in prayer. So you will hear me say, Allahu Akbar. I will make my intention, but I'll make my intention softly, quietly. Nobody will hear but me and God. You make your intention. Your intention is to say the janazah prayer for Brother NADAR Ali Senior. And then the rest of it is a prayer that I will make. And after the second takbir, which is Allahu Akbar, after the second one, you say a silent prayer for the departed person yourself. I will say one that I have put together, you say another that you have put together, and all of them are silent. Then I will end the whole services by salaming out in both directions. Assalamu alaikum and salamu alaikum. Is that understood? Let us straighten our lines, please. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
It looks as though we have a few extra chairs. We're going to have a few extra chairs for some of the seniors in the back of the canopy. So we're going to make our way back to the canopy now. Those of you that can stand through the service, and those of you who just cannot, we'll have chairs for you through the service. We're going to take the body back over under the canopy until the service is done. Before that, the honor guard is going to remove the flag and present it to my mother as it's folded. We're going to go through the service, and once the service is over, we ask that everyone join us at the repast at Masjid Al-Aqaba. They have taken time and love and effort to prepare a meal for everyone, and we hope that everyone that can make it. It's on the back of the program. But if you don't get a program, I think the address is 949 Waterman, South Waterman. I believe that's the address.
I remember sitting around the house after all our little bellies were fed. Everyone would be settled back and listening to what Grandma said. She said, "Come gather around, you chillin'. I'm gonna tell you what I hold dear. Gonna tell you about the gracious life of a pioneer." You see, God's always had his hands around them, so when they leave, there's no need to mourn. He sent them here to save a place for the children being born. When you see the pioneers walking and they're strolling along their way, you must lower the wing of humility, tip your hat and say good day. Grandma, tell me why, oh why must these things I hold dear? Why must I lower the wing of humility to an old pioneer? She said, "Son, oh, they may be old, but it was God who made them that way. And just as sure as the sun rises in the sky, you make it to old one day." You see, they walked a mighty, mighty road, and they carried a heavy load. They paved the way with sweat and blood, so your life you would not have to pay. But Grandma, tell me why, oh why must these things I hold dear? Why must I lower the wing of humility to an old pioneer?
Walaikum assalam.
You know, Brother Nada Ali was and is a giant in our community. Has always been a giant since I first heard of him when I was on the East Coast of Connecticut. I heard of him then, and Allah blessed me to meet him in Chicago, and also to be part of his friendship group from that time until today, and hopefully even into the hereafter. Because, you know, we are told in our faith, the Islamic faith, that if you are as good as the person that passes, wherever he is in paradise, you will have an opportunity to meet him again. So I'm hopeful that I can continue in the vein that was developed by him and accepted by me, continues and continues, because I would like to see him again, inshallah, God willing. You know, he never told me that he was in the military. You know, he got some secrets too. and that's fine. They were good secrets. But he never shared with me and anyone that I associated with that he was in the military. And I did not know that he was in the military, not even from his children that I knew quite well. I knew all of them quite well. Even from them, I never heard it. When I read the obituary, I looked at that, I said, are we talking about the same person? We're talking about the same Nada Ali, one of the great leaders in the business community and also in the educational community of the then Nation of Islam under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad. Yes, that was him. And some things he never mentioned that I discovered, and believe me, I had enjoyed it. So I wrote something, and I hope that it's about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I hope that you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Salat al-Jum'ah for the family. I offer my condolences to all of them. The ones I know and the ones I don't know. The ones I don't know are the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, but I do know all the children. In our book, the Holy Quran, the 12th chapter, Allah quoted Prophet Yusuf, what I believe our brother Nada Ali Sr., husband, father, grandfather, and perhaps even great-grandfather, and in the waning days of his time on earth among us. And that is a quotation that I'd like to recite to you from the Quran. Prophet Yusuf said, O Allah, creator of the heavens and the earth, you are my protector in this world and in the hereafter. Take my soul at death as a Muslim, one submitting to your will, and unite me with the righteous. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, the most compassionate, all praises to Allah, the guardian, evolver, cherisher, and sustainer of all the worlds. We ask that Allah's blessing and his peace be upon his righteous servant, the prophets from Adam to Muhammad the last. And we ask that his blessings be upon all of those that pass, and especially our brother NADAR Ali, who became a Muslim, remained a Muslim, never deviated, and never weakened since the day he became one, as long as I knew him, until the day he passed. And he and I spoke, both of us living in California at the time, just about every other day. Glory to Allah for creating everything that lives on earth and for giving us our humanity. Blessed is he in whose power is sovereignty, for he is able to do all things. He has created life and death, that he may test us to determine which of us is best in conduct. He is the mighty, the forgiving. All Allah determines the length of our mortal lives, and no one dies except by his leave. Allah provides the rewards of this world and the hereafter for those that are thankful. Praise be to Allah for spreading the earth before us as a place to live and to serve him, to earn a livelihood for our comfort, and to dignify our mortal bodies after death. In death, the earth receives its treasure, which are the physical elements from which we all were created. As the scripture says, that we were created from the earth, and to the earth we shall return. From the earth we were taken. We were taken. Into it we will return, and from it we will have another resurrection. Every one of us will taste a mortal death, and on the day of resurrection we will be judged according to our deeds, according to Scripture. Those of us who are spared the fire of hell and allowed to enter paradise by Allah's mercy will be blessed. Remember, dear people, Allah, God, the most exalted, has honored humanity above all his creatures, and he has favored those that believe in him, whom he has guided to the faith of Al-Islam and remain so. Allah, the creator of life and death, tells us in the Holy Quran, how can you reject the faith in God, seeing that you were without life and he gave you life? Then he caused you to die and will again bring you back to life. And again to him will you return. Just as the Muslim is welcomed into the world at birth, or any baby, that is, even you and I was welcomed into the world at birth by the purification of his or her body, by the joyful exclamation of, there is no deity except God. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. And just as the entire earth is made a dwelling place for him, for you, for I, he honored them in death by washing him and shrouding of his body, and by the offering of prayers for him. To confer this honor upon the deceased is an obligation for all Muslims who are around him at the time of death. Again, Allah tells us in the Holy Quran, every soul shall have a taste of death. In the end, to us shall you be brought back. That is something for us to remember. Death does not settle at all. Death is only a beginning of another transformation of life as based upon how we live and enjoy this life. But those who believe and work deeds of righteousness, to them shall we give a home in paradise, lofty mansions beneath which flow rivers, to dwell therein forever, and excellent for those who do good is the future of those of us who live on this earth and who do good to ourselves on this earth and who do good to others. And doing good to others means that others enjoy among us and around us and away from us freedom from our tongues, freedom from our ideas, and freedom from our ugly remarks. On this day, those who may have negative contents about the departed one should recite them no more. After someone has passed, the only thing that is worthy of you and is worthy of the one that passed is that you mention nothing about this particular individual except that which is good. And if you mention and act upon that which is good, then God acts upon that which is good to you. So be the judge and be the character and be the human that Allah has created and breathed his soul into. Give justice and fairness to your brothers, your sisters, your wives, your uncles, your aunts, and all of the people that you come in contact with. Give justice to them. For one day we will face the same thing that our grandmothers and grandfathers and great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers and all of the prophets and all of the people that lived before our time faced, but would only be presented to them on the day of judgment. The Quran tells us that on that day, Allah will destroy and bring judgment to the world. But those people that are living on that day, they will continue to live through the commotion that takes place on that day of judgment, which is the day of destruction. But those that have been good, and those that have been believers, and those that have been truthful to themselves and others, Allah will cause them to faint or to swoon, according to the Quran. And in that description, it is saying that he will cause them to lose consciousness and to lose all feelings. So the destruction that takes place on that day will miss you, but will not miss those who have been evil, those that have been wrong, and those that have been unjust. Because God is a just God, and no one escapes.
That's right.
No one escapes his justice. And then we should have sense enough not to ever try. So to our brother, NADAR Ali, we love him when he lived. We love him after he has passed on. And we pray that Allah will bless us with the paradise that he will enjoy when the judgment comes. Thank you very much. We offer condolences to the family. And we hope and pray that Allah will bless them with peace and progress, and whatever it is that me and the friends that I have made with him, whatever we can do to keep the family in good spirits, we will do, regardless of what it is. And I explained it to Mrs. NADAR Ali, that if there's ever a need for anything, give us a call, and we'll do the best that we can in this world to help us through her times and through her trials. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar! Takbir!
Allahu Akbar!
Takbir!
Allahu Akbar!
Takbir!
Allahu Akbar!
This is something that's missing from the program, but many of you may know or you may not know that my father was a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. He was one of the founding members of the chapter in Fresno that still stands to this day. Past president and lifetime member. One of his brothers, one of his friends wanted to make a presentation today on his behalf. So I want to call up Dr. Darren Miller. He's right here.
Mother, to everyone that's assembled, my name is Dr. Darren Miller. I'm here to represent Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Mic a little closer.
As was stated, Brother Ali started it here. September 1st, 1956, as a college student out of Fresno State College. From his legacy, we're able to still exist on the campus and be able to expand into the alumni chapter. And it is about service and gratitude and giving back to mankind. We have a ritual that we go through, and as part of the ritual, we have a personalized poem that I'm going to read right now that will be given to Mother. The additional copies will be made available to the family. And it goes, there goes an alpha man. There goes a man of high impulse and princely mien and grace. There goes a man of humble faith, a credit to his race. There goes a man of conscience vast, with the will to reach his goal. There goes a man of lordly rank, of hero stock and soul. There goes a man of noble caste, whom hardship cannot break. There goes a man in merit clad, whom duty won't forsake. There goes a man of cultured verse, who holds a sportsman's creed. There goes a man too vigilant to bow to lust or to greed. There goes a man whose life is spent in service, not in scorn. There goes a man whose majesty shines like a May Day morn. There goes a man who is a friend to love and duty truth. There goes a man to help uplift the lives of wholesome youth. There goes a man with industry and faith at his command. There goes the best man in and out, for he is an alpha man. And it is signed by the alumni chapter here at Iota Nu Lambda, and it's given in honor of our dearly departed brother, Pearl. Anybody who creates a chapter is referred to as a Pearl. So Brother NADAR Ali is a Pearl chapter of Epsilon Beta and a long-standing member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And it's my honor to present this to you, Mother.
Good afternoon. We're here to celebrate. I know I'm not on the program, but we're here to celebrate the life, I've heard it say, of a great man, and that alpha man happened to say, there goes a man. I'll just leave it at there. There goes a man. As I know Mr. Ali, anyone older than me, I have to refer to him as Mr. So I'm going to refer to Ali as Mr. Ali. Today, we cannot go to the gravesite due to the condition of the ground, but we do have sand here. You may line up, get the sand, and sprinkle the coffin as you like, if you so choose to. But to the family of Mr. Ali, he was a legacy in Fresno. Now, I don't know if all of you are here because of you like it, because that good fish they used to cook down there, or because he was married to this lovely lady, Miss Mary, for 68 years. Now, if you married a woman for 68 years, you're older than me. Hey, not me, not me. But anyway, to Miss Mary, may you be blessed. You're going to miss him. And to the children of Mr. Ali, God bless you, and to all the family today. Now, there's going to be a time of celebration at 949 Waterman. That building is right on the corner of Waterman and Tulare. If you go down California, you get to Tulare, make a left turn. It'll be that big building on the left-hand side, 949 Waterman Street. So go there and celebrate this man's life. It's going to be some sad days, but let there be some happy days. As I said, you cannot go down. Now, maybe a few of the family members can go down to the gravesite, but the majority cannot. So we're going to have the sand here so that you may sprinkle it. And thank you so much for entrusting Mr. Ali's last earthly remains to the Cooley Junior Funeral Home. And may God bless you and continue to protect you. Ali, continue to bless you and protect you. Thank you so very much.
Allahu Akbar.
And there's one more thing. Thank you. My nephew, Qasim Kareem II, wants to make a presentation as well.
Good afternoon, family and friends. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I wanted to start off with a letter that was written by my grandfather, Imam Darnell Kareem from the Chicago region. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, NADAR Ali, an icon of Muslim international business, a phenomenal educator and an exceptional man of many visions. He was moved by the inspiration of the late social reformer, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whose motto was to do for self. With a God-given vision of thinking big and following the advice of our leader, Imam W. Muhammad, to establish relationships with the Muslim world, he came up with the idea of export and import. When someone comes up with a good idea, the temptation or a byproduct can be glory or honor for the one who came up with it. However, when Allah gives us a vision, the vision is oftentimes seen impossible. But Nadar was a man of faith, a sincere believer in the Quran and the power of God. He was focused with a determined mind to do what God wanted him to do. God reminds us in the Quran to be patient and support each other in patience and form alliances. Nadar Ali did exactly that. There is so much to be said about this icon. He has laid the foundation and the legacy will live on forever. We salute him for a job well done, and we cannot conclude without recognizing the fact that these achievements would not have been possible without the dedicated support of his loving wife and Mother Mary. And we ask Allah for his mercy and blessings and peace for her and the family. May Allah reward him with his rightful place in paradise. Ameen.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Now, usually in these situations, I've been commonly known to write a poem or some type of depiction of my feelings or gratitude towards a person. But this time I find myself to be emotionally unavailable to open up and accurately describe the person who was my grandfather. Because how do you describe someone who my grandfather, Imam Darnell Kareem, accurately mentioned as an icon and a true legend? How do you accurately describe someone? Excuse me. How do you accurately describe someone who's instilled God, love, and self-worth into you? Someone who's taught you the value of family and the power of your last name. Someone who was revered amongst his family and colleagues. Someone who was a great student as much as he was a great teacher. So this task of trying to accurately describe this great man, as you imagine, became overwhelming. So emotionally, I felt underqualified to attempt such a task. So I hadn't planned on writing anything for this service. But it was just last night, I was walking through the hallway of my grandfather and grandmother's home. I noticed the picture frame. And I've seen this picture frame many times over the years. But for whatever reason, I never bothered to read what was inside of it. But this time, something inspired me to read it. So as I started to read what was inside the picture frame, I began to have one of those moments where everything just made sense and everything just started to fall into place. So I wanted to read to you all what was inside that picture frame. And excuse me, I didn't have time to rewrite it. I have to pull up the pictures that I took of it. It says, our family name, Ali. Can you hold this one? Yes, sir. Ali means lofty. In its root form, it means to ascend, to rise up, to be high up, sublime and elevated. One that has this name is of very high social qualities. His or her height being seen in a dignified example. Ali excels in all of the nobler qualities of a human being. He and she are truthful in tongue and well respected. Ali also means to gain mastery over a thing, to be advised, illustrious and eminent. Ali is one who under his or her own merit reaches the highest part of a thing. He and she are uppermost in faith and religious performance. And he or she ascends the heights without lording over others or waxing proud. We pray to Allah, God, He gives us the help, strength, and wisdom to live up to the good name that we have in our family name. Ameen.
Ameen. Allahu Akbar.
Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
So there it was. This whole time, I was looking for the perfect words and the perfect description to, explain who my grandfather was, and it was in this hallway on the wall this whole time. And so I thank him for guiding me to see it, because I know it was him who pointed me in that direction. And now I know that I no longer have to use all these adjectives to describe my grandfather. I simply just need to know that's what Ali means by itself. Thank you.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Men do cry.
That's right.
It might be for joy, it might be for sadness. If you never cried, you're going to cry one day. Because something's going to happen in your life. And man, when you cry, don't be ashamed to cry. Because you were given tear ducts to cry. And grandson, don't you ever be ashamed of crying about your grandpa.
That's right.
Don't ever be ashamed. Now, for the sprinkling part, the family will go last. We'd like you to form a line on this side and come by and take a few of the grains of sand and sprinkle the casket. I do not know if this is the conclusion of the service, but right now I'll give it back to.
And while you're doing that, we're going to have another announcement to make as well.
Assalamu alaikum, dear believers. From the ministry of Imam W.D. Muhammad, the ministry managed and supervised by his son, Imam Warthi Muhammad II. The ministry of Imam W.D. Muhammad wishes to wish the condolences to the family and to the friends. Our dear brother NADAR Ali was a diligent soldier and a diligent servant to this community under the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he continued his due diligence to serve under the leadership of Imam W.D. Muhammad. So the ministry of the Imam W.D. Muhammad Mosque Cares wishes the condolences to the family, and we ask Allah to grant him the highest level of the paradise. Assalamu alaikum.
You may come now if you want to sprinkle.
We're going to come on this side of the coffin.
Mike, I'm just your business out there. You know what?
Enough said. Enough said. Everything is basically set up the same. That's just correct.
That's his son, Costa.
We can talk about a lot of stuff.
No, I didn't forget about it. I did not forget about it. You're not going to take my
Hey, man, how are you? That's my student, little brother. What are you doing, man? Salam alaikum.
It's still the same. Let's take a break. I just
Yeah, just the next phase. We're working on next phase.
Damien, may I get a picture of you three? Yes, ma'am. Uh-oh. Oh, Mom.
Well, you hold it. I didn't. Well, then, no, you
Love return.
They were choking me. Hey, how you doing? Sugar rope, everything. They bouncing off the way. Go up all the time.
Yeah, you already did. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, Oh, we're going to sit down. I might go to the grave when he's going to be here, man. Yeah, he's going back.
yes, love you too.
Yeah, they're not going on yet. Thank you, Russ. Brother Omar, yes, brother Jihad.
Drop your. She's doing that. I saw the red. She's coming a long way. Oh, yeah. She could remember anything.
Good and you guys be careful, you know, you're fearful and logically speak. But I'm not
good. Okay. So when she was having it, she was in the house. So they could, see, that was Jamaica, but they didn't kill her there. So she had so that made her not able to Lisa? Oh, that's the thing. Okay. How you doing? You made it down here, huh?
Yeah,
Huh? I can't hear on this side. Talk on this side. Tears. Oh, Tears. Nothing along with the progress. Because you need interaction.
Oh, yeah. I had to come down here to the
I didn't know it like that.
I'm Memorial Video. I interviewed him at
I remember.
Let me get with your grandson. You take my number.
have you been?
No.
Yeah, we did. Yes, he was. And he was still being productive.
You had a trail of young ones and the older ones.
Oh my, I had to come down.
You had a whole range.
Nobody's
It looks shiny though.
Get close up on it. It's got a lot of paint off.
That's all right. He made it down.
Oh yeah. Make sure I check the oil.
It is on.
I forgot to take my oil out. Yeah, put it in the drawer. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I know that. That ain't bad.
And my car.
I'm going to stop it all the time.
And my car needed just blowing out.
Me too.
Because I don't go no place else. She had to work. Pierce is over there in the car.
Pierce, huh?
He in my car, that white car.
They got something, they say they having something else?
Yeah.
Where is that?
You got to ask, I don't know where it's
Let's keep beginning. All right, we here at the Janazah for NADAR Ali. We just came from the Janazah, now we're here at the Masjid. What's the name of the Masjid?
Masjid Aqaba.
Masjid Aqaba. We got two of our pioneers. We got a few more I want to get on camera while we're here. And I just want you to introduce yourself. You know, I know you're a pioneer too, and the sister next to you, she a pioneer. You know, so we want to just get a few words. I know you got to go, but you know, just say a few things before you leave. Okay, introduce yourself.
All right, assalamu alaikum. My name is Michael Salam, and yeah, I came in the Nation of Islam 1973 at Temple number 26, and
in San Francisco.
In San Francisco, Temple number 26 in San Francisco. And fast forward 20 years later, I become the Muslim chaplain here in Central Valley. So now I live in Central Valley area, little town called Hanford. Been here about 24 years. Now, in response to NADAR Ali, my most memorable event with him, he sponsored the food for one of our banquets with the Muslim American Chaplains Association. So his restaurant sponsored the food for us, great fish and so forth. So that was one of my most memorable with Nadir Ali. But I want to say this on behalf of the family and the community. We pray Allah will forgive him for his sins, have mercy on his soul, and grant him a high station in Jannah, inshallah.
And how old was he? I didn't look at the obituary.
He was born in 1930. Do the math. He was born in 1930. Yeah. I'm born in 1949. I'm 74. So he was born 11 years before me then, right? Yeah. He got to be close to 90 then, wouldn't he?
Yeah, so we here in Fresno.
Yeah, we're in Fresno,
California, and so we got the masjid in the background behind the brother and sister. So
just for them a little tidbit, this is a newly acquired property. They had a smaller masjid that was in the hood, man. So this is I'd say 1,000% upgrade, man. Just the property itself, the parking lot. Yeah. So this is wonderful. Yeah. I congratulate the community for that.
Yeah, can I get a picture of you real quick?
Somebody can take my seat. You want to take my seat?
No. Yeah, I want to get a picture of the family before you leave. Okay. Lisa, you want to introduce yourself?
I'll text her.
Introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Speak up.
My name is Nisa Bismillah Green, and I came into the masjid in 72. I received my ex. I was in before then, but I received my ex.
You came in 73, you said?
72.
72.
I received my ex in 72, but I was in before.
Okay.
And all praises due to Allah, I was able to go to Chicago and see the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 75, the year before he passed.
74.
74.
Because I went 7. That was the last. That was his last Savior's Day.
I went to his last Savior's Day in 1974. And Allah blessed me to be there in 1975 when he passed. Allah blessed me to be one of the lieutenants that when he walked out of Temple number 2, I was on one side, another lieutenant was on the other side, and he came through with a beautiful green velvet, and we broke into a salute.
So you came in San Francisco, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we both were in San Francisco.
Yeah. I remember when he came in.
That's right.
Okay. Well, alhamdulillah. Well, this is Sister Pioneer too, so we're glad to get you on video here. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I want to get them over here.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I got two pioneers here. These brothers go way back. I haven't seen them in years, and I just want you guys to introduce yourself. These brothers I met before I came in the Nation of Islam. I think I bought a paper from one of you. I can't remember. Okay. So we here at the excuse me. Okay, we here at the repast of the janazah of Nadir Ali, right? So we here at the masjid, and this is the back. You can see the masjid in the background. So I just want you to introduce yourself and just share a little bit about when you came in, and if you had any the history about, if you want to say anything about Ali, but just share some things about yourself, okay? And introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is
Speak up.
My name is Nazim Hamed Al-Hajj. Been on Hajj 2 times. Became a Muslim in 1967. During the turbulent years, that's the time we were started selling our fish white and H&G, and Brother Khalid was one of our top salesmen in the whole country. We embraced Islam. I'm a father of 9 kids. I have 2 wives. My first wife passed.
Hold on.
Got a master's degree.
Keep going.
Have a master's degree in public administration. Traveled to Sierra Leone, Africa. Stayed there for 2 years. Got my second wife and came back to America in 1997. And been back ever since with my wonderful brother Philip Khalid. I sold Muhammad Speaks, I sold bean pies, and I went and got a lot of people to come into the Nation of Islam. Assalamu alaikum.
But you got a lot more history too. I know your wife, ex-wife, she was, you want to share that a little bit?
Sister Salia. Yeah, my wife, who referred to as Sister Salia, was the principal of Clara Muhammad's.
She was a teacher. I mean, she was a principal, wasn't she?
Yes, you're right.
And what year was? You remember what year?
That was probably in 2002 or something like that.
And that was Clara Muhammad School.
Clara Muhammad School. Yes,
okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and also you have a group, Hamid Express, right?
Yes, sir.
I got that over there. You got a lot of stuff. Yeah, you know, we just covered a little bit of you, brother, because you know so much history. Your son, Suleiman. What Hodge Pro?
Yes, he owned the Hodge Pro.
Yeah, him and his wife. Okay. So we got his brother next to him. These brothers I knew, man, they were, when I was young, you know, I met these brothers first. Before I became a Muslim, they were already Muslim. So go ahead, you want to introduce yourself?
Assalamu alaikum. My brother Philip Ibn Wali.
Speak up.
Alexander, Philip Ibn Wali Alexander. And I just feel very blessed to have been blessed to be on this journey. You know, and Allah blessed us to see the light of Al-Islam. You know, we might have been kind of dim, but it showed, we was able to make our steps, you know, careful steps in that dim light, and we was guided through. Allah guided us through. You know, it's my brother here. I'm grateful to be able to be in his company at any time, and we've been talking about doing a little interview for a long time. I've been for some reason or another, I've been missing him. So this time,
I've been needing to come out here for the longest. I said, but at least, we're going to have to do another one. We're just doing a quick thing here because these brothers got so much stuff. I know, and you all, you know, you got a lot of history, especially with your ex-wife, Sister Dahia from that was the Hydra group. That was your wife at one time. Yeah, I remember that.
But he also worked at Muhammad Speaks newspaper.
Yeah, I was going to try to get around to that. I had the group Fortune in about 72, 73. To be hired to go to I left the Bay Area, went to Chicago, and I was hired at the Muhammad Speaks plant.
Oh, in Chicago?
In Chicago.
What year was it?
This was 72, about 72.
Wow, okay.
73.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, with the printing of the papers and
And initially, I didn't work on the big commercial press. That was a wonderful time, brothers and sisters. I mean, it was a wonderful time to, you know, Master Elijah Muhammad knew the importance of having the mechanism to produce the newspaper. So he went ahead and bought a state-of-the-art commercial, what they call an urban goss press, printing press, newspaper press. So the engineers that when they set it up, they got the building set it up and everything. And the engineers, they just knew, you know, the people that sold the machine and maintained the machine. they just thought for certain that they would be, tied to the Muhammad speak effort, for years, because they figured, nobody among us would be able to handle it. But within about 3 months, they told them guys, "See you later. We'll call you when we need you." And it was some wonderful times. Some of the brothers, brother Jerry, he was the first pressman.
Okay.
Brother Sidney, was another brother that was there. When I got there, I was in the same department and with Kazim Ahmed.
Okay.
He was in the plate making department. We made the plates for the big press.
Yeah. For the Muhammad Speaks.
For Muhammad Speaks, yeah. So when I first got there, I worked with.
So how long did you stay there?
I stayed there for roughly 19 years.
19 years. Wow. So,
19 years.
So that was after you left from 26.
Yeah.
You was in 26.
It was 19 years too long.
Well, brothers, man, I admire you, brothers. You look so good, and these brothers, a lot of people think you're twins. They thought you was twins. I think one sister told me, yeah, the twins. No, they're not twins. But anyway, you know what? I'm gonna come again to get another interview with you. We just make it a short.
We'll tell you about this effort here.
So because it's getting late. So hopefully the sun, the sun is about to go down. I hope I got videos. The quality is good. My name is Brother Khaled Wajid. I'm doing the filming here. I want to interview both of these brothers here because they go way back. I met these brothers before I became a Muslim, and I've been wanting to come and interview them because they got so much. I mean, we just shared a little bit, but both of these brothers got a lot of history, a lot of things they did for the community. But we can only cover a little bit right now, and hopefully I'll come another day out here. Fresno, California. Yeah. So I had to come to the brother Janaza, Brother Ali's Janaza, and so I'm just here for a little while, and I'm heading back to Oakland. So I just want to thank you, brothers, man. I appreciate you, man. Good seeing you. Okay.
We all love you for the sake of Allah. We hope to talk to you in the future. My bad,
man. These are some of all the family members of me. Okay. Wow. Okay. And we out in what's this? The backyard of the masjid? What's the name of the masjid here?
Aqaba.
Aqaba. Okay. We at the repast here, and this is his wife here in the center here. Alhamdulillah. Anybody like to say anything?
We love you.
All right. All these beautiful family members. You're part of the family here. All right. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Allahu Akbar. All right. Thank you. All right. We got all these pioneers here. You got to see that, huh? Young, the young and old. Is it young and old? What?
No, the question is, Brother Ballard, I'll take that. Did we give out? He hit that thing. Is it doing anything?
Is it working?
Yeah. Thank you.
No, sir.
All right.
You're not taking the picture, you're taking the film.
No, I'm taking video. All right.
Oh, okay.
I remember sitting around the house. After all our little bellies were fed, everyone would be settled back and listening to what Grandma said. She said, "Come gather round, you chillin'. I'm gonna tell you what I hold dear. Gonna tell you about the gracious life of a pioneer." You see, God's always had his hands around them, so when they leave, there's no